The second episode of Taboo is here, and it was just like the premiere, with lots of conspiracies and new characters. However, it did not answer a single question of the ones we had after the first episode. The episode starts with the East India Company. Sir Strange wants James Delaney dead as soon as possible. Afterwards, James digs up some diamonds, 14 to be exact, and sends one to his sister. He then digs into the past and finds out that his father was drinking cheap beer in his last days, which could have contained the poison that killed him. James buys a Spanish ship at an auction and plans to form the Nootka Trading Company. Every ship needs a crew, so James successfully recruits Atticus. Atticus told him that someone wanted him to kill Horace, but he refused. We later know that it was none other than Thorn Geary. We are then introduced to His Highness, thick-headed and self-centered Prince Regent. In the same scene, we are introduced to Solomon Coop, the Secretary of His Majesty, and it looks like he is actually in control of the whole country. As if the show isn't thrilling enough, a creepy girl called Winter appears from nowhere. She tells James about a man who wants him dead, the man with the silver tooth. She guides him to the man's ship and he sets it on fire. James goes to Helga and finds out that Winter is her daughter, and he convinces her to be on his side. Later, James meets a doctor who is an American spy. He demands to meet the American president, but things don't go as planned, and it looks like a new thread is beginning in the series. The inheritance division takes place, and the will leaves Zilpha nothing, so she leaves with her husband. But just afterwards, Lorna Bow appears. She claims to be Mrs. Lorna Delaney. The East India Company later know about her, and they see her as an opportunity. James meets his sister and they have an awkward conversation about the past. The man with the silver tooth was following him. He stabs James, but James fights back and kills him. The episode ends with James laying on the street in his blood. There are many aspects of this episode that need to be examined. The characters. In this episode, we are starting to get to know the characters a little more. Tom Hardy is not as grim and cold like he was in the first episode. He acts and feels more human. We also met Helga, Winter, Atticus, the American spy doctor, and Lorna Bow. The show needs to explore all these new characters. Right now all we see is Tom Hardy on the screen, and Zilpha was almost missing from the episode. The theatricals. During the episode, sometimes the dialogue was constructed to feel more theatrical, although this leads to some great scenes, but it also feels a little forced.
Be sure of this, Delaney. That legacy is your death sentence.
The same thing happens in this other scene at the East India Company meeting.
They got to him first.
Who did, sir?
The fucking Americans!
The notions. The show is trying to direct us to the important details with these questions, which is a great technique.
Why wouldn't he even look at our offer? Why would he defy logic and the king? Why did he know so much about the border negotiations? And where did he get the money to buy a ship?
The violence. James killed a man at the end of the episode, and he did set a ship to flames. But we always have the feeling that we are on the verge of some great violence. The intro music. Like we said before, we love the music in that show, and the idea to change the instrument every episode is amazing. The violins feel less dark, reflecting the episode. So we have some theories about the show. Who will die next? We can smell tension in the air, and it feels like death is closest to these two characters. Thorn Geary. This thick-headed, impulsive man full of empty threats. He paid Atticus to kill Horace Delaney, and one wouldn't expect a happy life when getting involved with the Delaneys. Mr. Thoit. The coward lawyer who spied on Horace Delaney for a long time. He is currently working with both James and the East India Company, but keep playing with the snakes and you will soon taste the poison. Lorna Bow works for James. Lorna Bow, an actress, claims to be the widow of the late Horace Delaney. The East India Company will of course approach her, but we have the feeling there might be a twist here. Could she be working for James after all? So what did you think of this episode? Did you like it? Do you have any theories about the show? Let us know in the comments.